Naina is my name. I used to be a contented woman. My existence was modest, but lovely. I was married to the man I had a great affection for. Ravi was his name. Despite his lack of wealth, he was loving, humorous, and compassionate. We used to speak about ridiculous topics, laugh a lot, and dream about the future. We were childless at the time. We desired to hold off until our finances improved. Ravi was a manager of a small shop. I took care of everything else while I was at home. Despite its imperfections, life was tranquil. I was content with him. However, everything changed on a rainy night. Ravi was riding his bike home from work. It was dark and the road was wet. A truck approached from the wrong side too quickly. He felt it. He passed away instantly. I didn't think it was real when I got the call. I believed it to be an error. My hands were shaking and my heart was in tears as I rushed to the hospital. However, it was accurate. He has vanished forever. Silence reigned for the next couple weeks. Not a sound. No grin. No need to get up. The house was cold and empty. He still had his toothbrush, his clothes, and his slippers. Not him, though. Every night I cried. Why? I asked God. I received no response. I was unemployed and unpaid. Even Ravi's meager savings were insufficient. Money was needed for food, power, and rent. I made an effort to be powerful. You must live, I told myself. You must persevere. I opened an old diary one day. It was from my time in college. I had already written about my desire to educate. I cherished writing and reading. I enjoyed giving people explanations. Then it occurred to me, perhaps now is the moment. Perhaps I ought to give it a shot. I then went to a small private school close to my home after taking my certificates and ironing my plain sari. Sunrise Academy was the name of the institution. It was the first time I had gone there. When I entered, my hands were trembling. My papers were examined by the principal, a gracious woman in her 50s. Have you ever taught before? She inquired. In response, I answered, no, but I want to try. She gave a soft smile. Your degree is good. We don't have enough teachers. You can begin tomorrow. I was surprised. As simple as that. She had faith in me. I had trouble sleeping that night. I felt anxious. But I also sensed a fresh optimism, a tiny light within me like a candle. I started working as a teacher at the school the next day. The kids gave me a questioning look. While some whispered, others grinned. I returned the smile. After introducing myself, I started teaching English. I was initially afraid. Writing on the board made my hands shake. But I gradually began to appreciate it, day by day. I was liked by the kids. I was referred to as Miss Naina. Their grins gave me courage. I met him during a lunch break one day. He was reading a book and eating a sandwich while seated beneath the tree in the school garden. He appeared to be about 25 years old. He smiled warmly, his hair disheveled. I took a seat on the adjacent bench. Hi, you're the new English teacher, right? He asked, looking up. Yes, I said with a kind smile. My name is Rohan. I'm a science teacher. We exchanged handshakes. His hand felt smooth and warm. Comforting, but not as good as Ravi's. He inquired, do you like it here? I believe I do. The children are charming. He chuckled. Yes, they can occasionally be monsters. However, good creatures. I also laughed. After all this time, it seemed weird to laugh once more. Nice, though. Following that day, we spoke frequently during breaks. After school, occasionally. Nothing serious, just light conversation about books, movies, and classes. However, I began to await those conversations. I liked his smile, and the way he listened. He didn't inquire about my past. I also enjoyed that. I was observing the rain from the window one wet afternoon. It brought back memories of Ravi's death night. My heart ached once more. Rohan was standing behind me, but I was unaware of it. Gently, "You okay?" he inquired. I swiftly turned and dabbed at my eyes. "Yes, only the rain. Sometimes it makes me sad." He didn't inquire further. As he stood next to me, he remarked, "Sometimes rain brings new things, too." I thought about what he said all night. I became more aware of him, his good nature, how he assisted pupils, the way he gave the elderly security guard a smile. He wasn't ostentatious or noisy. He was simply good. He brought me a little yellow flower one day. "No reason," he said. "I simply felt like giving." I grinned. But I was afraid on the inside. I was a widow. He was a young man. What would people say? What if I was injured once more? However, my heart was evolving. Daily. One beat at a time. We went for a walk together one evening after school. It was late. There was nobody on the road. He paused abruptly and turned to face me. "Can I ask something?" I gave a nod. "Are you married?" I was frozen by the question. I inhaled deeply. Yes, I was. Last year, my husband passed away. He had a dejected expression. "I apologize. I was unaware." "It's okay," I said in a whisper. Silently, we strolled. "You're strong, ma'am," he said. "Your entire tale is unknown to me, but your eyes show it to me. You have strength." I grinned. However, my eyes were moist. He remained silent. However, something had changed. I sat on my bed that night and gazed at Ravi's picture. "Can I love again?" I muttered. I was still unsure of the answer. However, my heart had begun to beat once more. Something warm, something supple, akin to spring following a protracted winter. Perhaps this was only the start. Weeks passed. Weeks turned into months. Numerous minor changes had occurred in my life. Ravi was still missing, particularly when the house was silent at night. On the shelf next to my bed, his picture was still there. But now my days also included laughter, kids phoning Miss Naina, the gentle sound of chalk rustling on the board, and peaceful discussions with Rohan under the school tree. I kept my feelings for Rohan to myself, not even me. It grew in my heart like a hidden flower. I was also too scared to touch it. The school held a little function one evening. Every instructor and pupil was there in the hallway. Youngsters performed short remarks, danced, and sang songs. Alongside the other educators, I sat grinning and clapping. Standing close to the rear, Rohan exuded pride in his pupils. He approached me following the event. He said, "Walk with me." Under the starlight, we took a leisurely stroll. The night was cool. The sky was clear and the wind was gentle. "I've been meaning to tell you something," he replied. My heart began to beat a little quicker. "What is it?" He appeared anxious, similar like a boy before a test. Life hurts us sometimes, severe pain, but occasionally it also offers us another opportunity, a second opportunity to experience joy. I gave him a look, uttering no words. He inhaled deeply. "I'm not sure when it occurred, Naina. However, I like you. You are important to me. Every day I look forward to seeing you. I don't wish to frighten or hurry you." However, I had to say it. Time seemed to have stopped for me. I was unable to talk. Ravi was on my mind. Would he be upset? Would he think I'd forgotten about him? But then I recalled a story Ravi had told me. That was so long ago, when we had just gotten married. At the end of the depressing movie we were watching, I started crying. "You must cry if something ever happens to me," Ravi had stated with a smirk. But not indefinitely. You have to grin once more. You are so full of love. Distribute it. Don't keep it locked away. I grinned slowly as I glanced at Rohan. I said, "You didn't scare me." His eyes glowed. "Really?" I gave a nod. I was also terrified. However, I believe my heart may be ready now. Perhaps I want to experience life once more. We remained silent, and I didn't feel guilty for the first time. I was at peace. After that day, our relationship developed subtly. Nobody at school was aware. However, the way I smiled back at him and the way he looked at me was sufficient. We began getting together on the weekends, at the park occasionally, for coffee sometimes. We discussed childhood dreams, movies, and novels. He told me about his distant mother and how, up until he met me, he had always felt isolated in the city. He brought me a little journal one Sunday. "Nahina, for all the pages of your life that were filled with tears, I hope I can help you write pages full of love," he wrote on the opening page. When I read that, I started crying. Tears of joy. We informed the school staff a few months later. A few were taken aback. A few grinned. Some muttered. We didn't care, though. We were proud and truthful. Rohan and his mother visited my home one day. She had nice eyes and was a gentle woman. "I am aware of your previous beta," she